Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Galebest and Clark St. James GT3 Season 7, Round 3 at Monza GP Circuit. I'm James Parfitt, going to be joined in the booth, not by Mr. Alex Goldschmidt, who unfortunately is jetting back from somewhere luxurious in Belgium, I think he is this week. But I'm going to be joined by Mr. Edward Hunter, who's going to come along for the ride of what plans to be absolutely amazing. 15 minutes of quali, which we are into now. Then we go into a 45-minute race with 50% fuel. So they will have to make a fuel stop. Lets you know what's happening in the standings at the moment. Michael Gray leading the way, 2 out of 2 for him so far in the pros with Matty Hoyland and John McLuhan. You're 1, 2, 3 in the AMs. James Moore leads the way on 80 points as well. Another one that has had 2 out of 2 this season, with Daniel Paul in second and Sean Clark rounding out third place. But there we go. Let's get this up and running. Let's bring Ed into the booth. Ed, welcome in, bud. How are you?
Oh, good, thanks. It's great to be here. Commentating on a Tanso GT3s for the first time, of course. Monza, it's a circuit where high speed is very much a priority, and we are going to see a lot of GT3s slipstreaming each other in both of our classes, of course. But of course, as you say, the same winners from both of our first 2 races. Let's see if it's the same 2 they're going to start on a pole position in each class, or if somebody else can get that small advantage. Of course, we've got all these different manufacturers here. They all seem very, very evenly matched on the evidence of what we've seen so far in practice then. So they continue to scroll through their qualifying laps here. It's a pretty quick lap, even in GT3, the 1 minute 48 current pole from Ben Altria, of course. So let's see if anybody can beat that.
Yeah, well, we are going to find out here as well whether or not anybody's going to be able to overtake Ben Altria, and what is he going to be able to do here as well. Can he go and be only the second winner of the pros? Can Dan Paul be the second winner of the AMs? We're going to find out. What also are we going to find out is, well, we're going to find out how Prima Variante goes, I think, Ed, as well. Turn 1 on the chicane. Well, what could go wrong, right?
You don't want to ask that kind of question because it only invites disaster, James. But yeah, so specifically on the driver briefing, no dive bombs into turn 1, and yeah, the Variante Prima and is probably the biggest trouble spot, especially at the start of lap 1. Of course, forgive me if I'm familiar. It's definitely a rolling start, right, at the beginning of the race.
Yep. It is.
Or is it? Yeah, it is. Yeah, I assume so from the previous iRacing stuff I've commentated on.
You are right.
So yeah, that reduces some of the risk, but they're still going to be very, very bunched together once they go to green flag and into that first braking zone, where the brakes are going to be probably at their coldest as well. And ideally, you don't want to start your race with a load of damage from either crashing into someone or having someone else give you a hefty hello and a load of contact that comes with it. But yeah, it is all about steering clear of disaster in the first few laps, and then getting into a position where you can get into a rhythm and then start to build up your race and hopefully slipstream your way through the pack. But of course, everyone's going to be setting up for straight line speed here, so you'd think the differences are going to be minimal at most. We see Harry Hartley-Price in the Porsche has actually displaced Ben Altria for that overall pole, as Daniel Poole continuing his strong form, but only just ahead of Shane Wells in the AM class as well. So yeah, the Porsche is sort of level with the BMW in the AM class in particular, but the BMWs have looked really, really strong down there in that middle part of the field.
That's a surprise to me. You just said about being can't set up for top speed. Now, generally, the Porsche doesn't have the greatest, right? We know it can struggle at top end. It doesn't have the greatest top speed here out of all of the other manufacturers. But at the moment, Harry Hartley-Price seems to be extracting the most out of that. However, Michael Gray is just about to come over the line. We're going to see how he gets on here. Purple in the last 2 sections. Well, that kills that one. Straight on to pole position, 47.577. No longer a Porsche there, Ed.
Yeah, Ben Altria did some purple time in the first sector, but there we go, he crosses the line, and it's the middle couple of sectors, the sort of the splits that let him down there. So Michael Gray very much shattering the morale of his opposition there with 5 minutes left to go in qualifying. So if anybody wants to get anywhere near close to that 47.5, you've got to get a bit of a hurry up there. But yeah, that's the Corvette very much showing everybody how it's done.
Yeah, absolutely. He's just gone and put it on pole position. I would like to point out that the young man that has done that has only done 3 laps, okay? So, whereas people in and around him, Harry Gale's done 4, Ben Altry has done 4 on his 5th at the moment, Peter Duke as well. Michael Gray just pops it in, goes and gets it done 5 minutes before the end. Kushti, thank you very much. Hold my beer, I'm going to sit in pit lane. So there we go. Dan Paul still leading the AMS at the moment. Shane Wells not too far behind him. Couple improvements on the bottom of the screen. Mark Kent has also just made an improvement in sectors 2 and 4 in that Mercedes. Be interesting to see how the Mercedes goes here at the same time. They have been told not to dive bomb turn 1. Now, you can not ever in a month of Sundays win a race on lap 1. If you can, Ed, definitely lose it.
Yeah, almost certainly, because as he said, you know, it's these are 45-minute races, so the first corner isn't going to be your only opportunity to get through, but equally, these racing drivers, no matter what they're driving, they never want to let an opportunity slip to gain even just 1 or 2 positions, because it could put them in a much better position in that sort of first stint, essentially. And we are potentially going to see, once we get to about half distance, a couple of drivers pitting maybe a lap or 2 a bit early, so you see somebody kicking dust up in the background. So easy to get caught in traffic in qualifying as well. And that can, as much as you get the small advantage from slipstreaming the car in front of you, it's a bigger disadvantage when they're going a bit slower than you and they're holding you up in the braking zones as well. So there is definitely a balance to be found. You want to be far enough behind to just get those little embers of slipstream, but not too close that you're suddenly having to just avoid the car in front of you, and that they're just compromising your run on acceleration especially, but also, as they say, into those very long braking zones as you decelerate from very high speed into the chicanes.
Yeah, Nathan Healy doing a great job at this moment in time with greens in 1, 2 and 4. And over the line he goes. Does he improve? He does, but only just up to 22nd. Connor Pink, the father to be, of course, of Sophie, is here as well, but he's down in 25th at this moment in time. Got promoted to pros from last season with Jared Love taking the championship. Connor coming in and finishing it in 2nd, and he's been promoted up to pros as well, but at the moment sitting down in 25th place. Sophie do any time now, so good luck, Sophie. Hope it all works out for you. But there's a couple of others that are making little bits improvement. James Moore, of course, in the AM standings at this current time as well, leading the way on OT points, 80 points. I'll get my words out in a minute. And he is currently 3rd in class, with Shane Wells in 2nd, and Dan Paul leading the way here as well. We normally, sometimes that we see this manufacturers, one manufacturer dominating the race or the qualifying, but it isn't quite that way at the moment. You know, we got a couple of shockers that people wouldn't put up the front, like the 2 Lamborghinis of Matty Hoyland and Harry Gala, but it's not a sort of dominated patriarchy from one specific manufacturer.
Yeah, it is interesting in that sense, isn't it? Monza, you wouldn't think it's a circuit where it's never really been seen as a driver's circuit. It's always a straight line speed circuit, essentially, because quite a lot of the lap is you on full throttle, apart from braking for those chicanes, essentially, and the 2 Lesmos as well. And not to mention, of course, Parabolica, another corner where you've really got to get your entry speed spot on. The driver can make a difference here if they are brave, and of course there's a bit of car setup that I think inevitably plays into it slightly. I think this is a league where they are allowed to mess with the setups a little bit if they so choose, but it really is down to the driver's confidence through some of the corners and the level of skill that they bring to the party. It's all well and good having a car that's really hooked up to Monza, but you've still got to get the maximum out of it when the pressure is on and the clock's ticking down as we go into the final 35 seconds of this session then. And we see our Lamborghinis going through the Variante Prima and all dipping a wheel. There's the 1, 2, 3 onto the gravel there. That's not going to do them any good.
Yeah, absolutely. as well. They do want to be careful. They are on a fixed setup, so there are minimal adjustments they are able to get done. Of course, there's not loads on fixed setups. Yes, Harry, I've just mentioned that. Thank you so much, dear sir. So there's not loads that they can change on a fixed setup. I think it varies from car to car. Harry, you might be able to help me out more on that one. What is able to be changed, but I don't think it's a lot. I think a lot of it is on driver's ability and the car that they are comfortable in here as well. So the qualifying has come to an end. We'll be able to get these co-drivers onto the grid and ready to go. Couple of anybody changing really much at the end. Mark Wesley has got some improvements as he's come along over in that McLaren, well, Vodafone McLaren livery there as well as he comes over the line. Peter Duke is another one that's also got some greens on the board, 2 and 2 at the moment, 2 greens, 2 yellows in sort of sectors 1 and 4 and 2 and 3 respectively. What is Peter Duke going to come over and do in that Acura? Is he going to be able to do anything? The finishing line is literally up the bridge. He comes over the line as well. Ben Altria got some purple on the board. He's gone over the line. Terry Atkinson all the way down in 27th at the moment, coming around the final Curva Parabolica, or the Michele Alboreto Curva Parabolica, if you want to give it his full name, but that's a bit of a mouthful. So we probably won't be using that one here this evening as he's going to go into pit lane. James Moore, another one trying to improve on the final lap here as well. There's a lot of people. More, of course, trying to get the pole in arms away from Daniel Poole at the moment. Connor Pink's got some improvements going on in sectors number 2 as they're all coming up to this final run. It is his final 4 cars here. How are they going to be able to get on? Is James Moore going to jump Daniel Poole? 2 and 2. He's on an even split. It's all going to be on this final one here for James Moore. Is he going to get this upshift machine over the line? Currently at the moment he is. What does he do? Does he jump him? Does he jump him? No, he doesn't look like he does jump at Daniel Poole and stays where he is. And Jean McClure also stays where they are in 9th place. That's going to be the end of qualifying. Ed, flashpoints, what are we going to see here this evening?
Oh, well, hopefully everybody keeping it neat and tidy into the first corner, but best laid plans and all that, they don't always go to plan, do they? Great AM qualifying as well between Poole, Wells and Moore, with Moore falling, I think, let's see, about just a 100th shy of Shane Wells there, and then they're all within less than a tenth of a second in between that top 3 essentially. But yeah, Michael Gray just well and truly went even a tenth faster, 147.4. That's enough for pole position there, but it'll be interesting to see if Ben Altria can get close enough to make a little dive bomb into the first couple of corners and maybe make this race a little bit more challenging than Michael Gray would ideally want, because the last thing he wants is to get swallowed up by the pack and give himself a lot of work to do over the next 45 minutes.
Absolutely. Just waiting for qualifying to click over into the next session. Michael Gray, there you go, is on pole with Ben Altria in 2nd and Harry Gaylor in 3rd. Harry Hartley-Price in 4th with Andy White and Matty Hoyland 5th and 6th. Then you got Peter Duke, Sam Berry, Jean McLuhan, Stephen Donnelly, Harry Seven and Tim Reed, your top 12. Further down is Mark Kent, then Rob McKee and Dan Poole leading the way in the AMs. And Shane Wells, James Moore, Sergio Cabral, Joseph Lopez, Christopher Haynes, Connor Pink, Mike Waters, Nathan Healy and Paul West rounding out the 24. Tim Walters and Mark Wesley, 25 and 26, with Terry Atkinson, 27. Callum Milam, Joe Spara and Sean Clark. Callum, nobody set time, so we are going to find out if these guys will get on to the grid and ready to go. But keep an eye out now. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is the time to go and get your popcorn. Sit back, relax, and enjoy this, because this could be an absolute banger, or there's going to be a lot of banging going on, and we definitely might not want to be seeing any of that, Ed, because those who crash are not going to make it to the end in one piece.
Yep, you certainly can't rely on jokers to repair your car instantly if you get into multiple incidents throughout the race, especially. So you are going to want to steer as clear of the chaos as you can. And yeah, especially if somebody up the front in pro goes for a sort of marginal move and it ends in disaster, that could really have a knock-on effect on everyone behind. So we're expecting the drama to probably be from some of the AM field, but some of the pro drivers, even they are vulnerable to a mistake under pressure or a miscommunication. It's so easy to do at Monza, where you think you're more alongside of your wheels than you are, and then suddenly you discover that you're not, and you're both going into the corner at the same time, occupying the same space at the same time, and it's not ideal for either party. But yeah, hopefully we should be in for a relatively clean start here.
Does look like Joe Sparrow and Sean Clark are not going to make it onto the grid. So both of them, unfortunately, are not going to make it onto the grid. We've got 28 cars participating in this evening, and unfortunately, it does look like we have lost the bottom two. Let's see how they get on. Michael Gray, 2 out of 2 in the Corvette. Ben Altria in the Acura alongside him. Hartley Price, Porsche, Lambo, Audi, Acura, Porsche, Mustang, and a Mustang. Sam Perry there in the Mustang with Stephen Donnelly alongside. Let's talk about Mustangs. A very nice Mustang pace car leading the way here once again. Let's see who's going to make it through turn one without any dramas. Who's going to see the ones that are going to have drama? Is anybody going to be able to make it through here without an ounce of problems whatsoever? Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and people of all ages, hold on to your hats. We are just about to find out. They're on their run round the curve at Powder at Bollock at the final corner on the circuit. Pace car's going to peel in. Oh dear, I'm dreading this turn one. I've got to be absolutely honest here. I'm wondering who's going to be able to make it through, who's not going to be able to make it through. Is it all going to go well? Is it not all going to go well? He's keeping them backed up here as well. He's backing them all the way in. Michael Gray does not want anyone to get the run. Now he's gone and bolted. There's a couple of cars strewn across the racetrack already. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's green. Here going down at Monza into turn one. Who's going to make it through the Prima Variante without any problems? Side by side in the background here as well. Hartley Price and Matty Hoyland, I believe that is. Harry Gaylor, there's been drama. Oh, there has been drama.
Oh dear, one of the BMW spun wrong way and everybody spiraling to avoid him, and we've got another car to the Audi facing the wrong way at the exit of the first chicane as well. So 2 cars coming to grief there.
Well, that answers our question of whether or not it's going to be clean on turn number one.
It's Tim Reed and Peter Duke, I think. So it was an Acura, sorry, not an Audi. As Peter Duke has gone back to the pit lane then. So Tim Reed, I think, was on the outside here, got a really good getaway launch, but he's then trapped on the outside trying to go 3 wide. And does he just go a little bit too... Oh, he gets tapped from behind, of course, and then he's facing the wrong way, and he has to reverse because it's a horrible feeling. And then it's the Acura that's hit trouble just ahead of him.
Had their problem as well. That wasn't ideal from what had gone on. Peter Duke on the left-hand side here. See, he's gone in. Wow. There's a Porsche stopping. Porsche is stopping, but is that Mustang stopping? No. Unfortunately, Peter Duke then gets pushed round by the Porsche and then has to sit there. But Michael Gray leading the way currently at the moment for the end of lap number 1. Ben Altria sat in second, Harry Gaylor third. And basically, Ed, to be honest with you, what we thought was going to happen at turn 1 did, and unfortunately, it's all a little bit wrong.
Yeah, of course, ideal for Michael Gray. He judged that start to perfection, didn't give Ben Altria, who actually hit the side of him behind the safety car just before the start, which was quite an interesting little moment there. But just going back to that start for Peter Duke, I think it was him, was it Sam Berry or Stephen Donnelly? I think it was Berry in the pink Mustang there that he made contact with, and I think it was always going to be a bit tricky for Peter. On the outside, we see Altria dip a wheel in the gravel, and Harry Gaylor is going to be licking his lips in anticipation because he knows there's a chance he can get that Lamborghini into the runners-up position, as Michael Gray, half a second ahead of them, is going to threaten to disappear into the distance if one of these two can't assert themselves here. So is this a position where if you're Harry Gaylor, you might want to just tuck in behind and hope that Ben Altria can slowly slipstream his way to the back of the race leader, or is he going to try and make the move now in these early stages?
Yeah, I think I would look. Well, last time out it was Matty Hoyland and Harry Gaylor literally almost playing follow the leader. They didn't really make a move there as well. Sophie, that me definitely what has happened here. Action within the pros. Shane Wells leading the way. Sergio Cabral sitting in second. Dan Paul's gone round. It looks like that was a lady.
Nathan Healy.
Yeah, face. End up there, dear. We'll have a look back a little bit in a while, but we'll go on. Sat there. I think. Pit lane. Right. But James Moore in the AMS with Dan Paul tucked in right behind him. Of course, these guys lead AM Championship with about, 25 points between them. And it's got to be the Porsche. Paul has got to make it past this BMW of Moore. Is that going to be the question? We're going to find out here at the same time. They're going to be running side by side down into turn one now. Paul on the right in the Porsche, Moore in the BMW. On the left-hand side of your screen, coming towards them. There's movement further back. I think that's Mark Kent and Connor Pink going side by side at the same time. And it is going to be Moore holding on. If Paul's going to do that, though, Ed, got to be a lot stronger on that corner to be able to make that work.
Yeah, didn't quite get the run out of the parabolic Alvarado that he needed, did he? But it was an interesting thing in terms of the championship. Sean Clark, of course, was third in the standings, was their closest challenger, couldn't make the start because something stopped him from taking the start of this race. We assume a disconnection or something of that nature, as we see all side by side between the Mercedes of that's Connor Pink again, losing out this time to Mark Kent in the Mercedes there. So yeah, Mark Kent was really on the ball there, but he's left the door just a little bit open into Lesmo number one, and Connor Pink almost faints to the inside before slowing back. And now he's got Joseph Lopez in another McLaren for companies. We see Sam Berry has picked off Andy White for sixth in the Pro class. Yeah,
Jean McLuhan and Stephen Donnelly are going side by side here. John in that Porsche, Donnelly in that Ford. That Ford should have some rough power. Harry 7 in behind it. Ron McKee in there as well. These guys are running side by side down into the final corner on the racetrack here. Behind the trees they go. Stephen Donnelly, Jean McLuhan side by side. Donnelly's going to shoot around the inside, outside. Then behind that is Harry 7 and Rob McKee. They're scrapping it out. BMW's in behind that as well with Shane Wells. It's all going to get very, very tight. 5 cars rushing down into turn one. Ed, surely nothing can go wrong.
Famous last words. But while this has been going on, Altria has lost out to Harry Gaylor. So Gaylor up to second. And now I see 2 rows here. Which of these rows is going to be the ideal one to be in? The 199 gets the Prima Variante first, and the BMWs at the back have to hold station there. So yeah, Stephen Donnelly right at the heart of this battle behind John McLuhan then, who holds on to that 8th position then with Harry 7 and Rob McKee having to just wait their turn in behind there. But Every did very, very well to get through without completely coming to grief there.
Harry, I think, that was almost pushing Donnelly through there. Almost was giving him a little bit of a push through turn number 1. Tim Nayluck Reed, there's Josh in chat. Donnelly's got a little bit of a squirrel on in that Mustang. Once you start unsettling it, very hard to get it back here. You've got to give yourself a lap or so to calm it down. Harry's now tucked in. Is he going to be able to make this work? Is he going to be able to go through? He's bump drafting him along at the moment. Where's he going to be able to go? He looks up the inside, thinks better of it. Maybe looking for the exit coming out of this corner.
Yep, no such opportunity yet, but you can tell Donnelly in that Mustang not looking quite as planted on some of these exits in that Haribo livery, of course. We also see, I think, a move a bit further up, I think, is that Harry Hartley-Price, who's just picked off Andy White and is now starting to pull away in 5th position. As to the outside goes Shane Wells, trying to get involved with Rob McKee in front of him out of Parabolica, but again, just having to tuck into the slipstream and wait for a better opportunity. Will there be enough space to squeeze through for the number 99 at the end of this straight, as they're all relying on that slipstream to sort of stay in a train with one another? So it might be even Stevens then, and everybody as they were as they start lap 5 then.
Shane Wells still. Sergio Cabral's got James Moore tucked in behind him. What's Sergio going to be? It's going to be obviously the same team here. Is Sergio going to hold him up, or is it going to say, well, you want to come past me, son? You better come past me. Or is it another Hamilton and Leclerc and Austin out the way? Find out here once again. Moore tucks in right behind Brow currently at the moment in time. Yeah.
Ray in trouble.
Yes.
Falling down the order, so from the lead into Lesmo 1. Let's see the replay here. All looks neat and tidy. So from the rear just lets go. Oh, and he avoids the wall initially, but then hits just at the other side of that gap in the barrier there. So, oh dear, Michael Gray has blown a quite cozy looking lead, and his race has been thrown into absolute chaos now, and that could blow the championship wide open.
Absolutely. Poor old Michael Gray there. Go back to live pictures all the way down, mixing in with the AMs at the moment. It's Shane Wells and Sergio Cabral down currently in 12th. He's going to have his work cut out for him, as is Rob McGee and Harry Seven as they're continuing to scrap here. McGee's going to look up the inside. He's going to be able to make this work. He's got to go in deep if he's going to here. Got to hold it. No, he gets his nose cut off from Severin. I think this is going to be one of the very first free wide moments we might possibly have here. You can see the guys all motoring down this front stretch. On the outside, Stephen Donnelly, Harry Seven, Rob McKee, all tucked in at the same time. On they go now down into turn number 1, and as we expected, they are gonna nearly, no, maybe, possibly. Oh, there's gonna be contact on these BMWs there. No, they give each other room. They all make it through, but look at the run that Harry Seven's got out here.
Oh yeah, spectacular there from the McLaren, as you see Rob McKee passing Donnelly in the background, but Michael Gray has caught up while they've all been fighting. He has slipped underneath them and has already got himself back into the top 10 there. So Donnelly losing out big time from all that drama into the first chicane.
I do wonder whether or not he had a slowdown. That is a rapid loss of positions there. And you can see Michael Gray trying to work his way through, just goes past Shane Wells. But McGee doesn't have to be so nice about it as well, because Rob is in his class, can hold him up here. So is Harry Seven, so is Jean McLuhan. All of the guys in front of Michael Gray can be a little bit, if they want to, make sure that he isn't going to get through easily. That's the question. You've got to decide what you're going to do. Are you going to go and hold up, or at least battle or defend against the guy in your class? It's Sam Berry and Andy White running side by side into that final corner. It does look like Berry's got through the power of that Mustang. Now we've got Michael Gray ahead of Harry Seven, but tucked in behind Rob McGee. Is he going to pull out? There he goes. He didn't even realize the Corvette was there. Up the inside he goes. They're going to lean each other on the exit here. McGee's going to look around the outside. What has that BMW got? Has it got the pace? No, it hasn't. Michael Gray up another position. Shane Wells and McGee are going to be left to battle it out again.
Yeah, just impressive. Not only his pace, but also his racecraft from Michael Gray. That was textbook into the Parabolica to get to the inside. He may have to do a little bit of defending as they go into the first variante there. But again, Gray has got the Corvette placed exactly where he needs to, and the BMW has got no chance of diving up the inside from that far back, and has to slot in behind then, does Rob McKee. So now Michael Gray, next target will be Harry Seven, who is about a second now behind John McLaren, in front of about 2 seconds, I should say. It's actually a Gray who's now within a second of Seven in front of him. So it definitely looks like Michael Gray is going to be a little bit of a steamroller in this middle pack in the top 10. But it'd be interesting to see if he has a bit more trouble getting when he catches up to the likes of White, Berry and Hartley Price, who are a bit more similar to the pace that he's setting at the moment.
See how Jake guys it for a while. We were looking at that front pack. Daniel Paul absolutely sends it on James Moore and makes the apex on the exit. Wow, we're going to make an overtake that's going to feel good. That's definitely one of them there. And he's going to make his way now away from James Moore, who's tucked in there at the same time. Connor Pink has got Joseph Lopez and Chris Haynes for company. He's battling away, unfortunately for Connor, down in 16th place overall, as he continuing to try and march his way through the field, up 5 places at the moment. He is still left battling the BMW of Shane Wells. Michael Gray moving forward at a rapid rate of knots here, Ed, and catches up with Harry Seven.
Yep, but Harry Seven is probably going to be a little bit tougher to pass. We've seen he's got really, really good exits and traction in that McLaren, but the Corvette has got speed to match it. Into the first chicane they go. Both of them getting very well over the curve, but Gray looking slightly more confident even as he dips the left-hand side, right-hand side of the car, I should say, into the gravel. By the way, going back to AM class, remember when we said Sergio Cabral could maybe help out James Moore there? Well, he's been dropped now nearly 4 seconds behind his teammate there, as we also see Christopher Haynes picking up Joseph Lopez in the McLaren for 5th. So Porsche's on the move in 2nd and 5th, really excelling in the AM class. As we see now, Gray is starting to line up Harry 7 as they go towards Lesmo 1.
Yeah, big old wiggle in the background there at the same time. I do want to look at happen. All these guys make the move. Why are you?
It sounds like there's been an incident beforehand, James.
Hold your brakes, hold your brakes, hold your... Oh,
oh dear. Well, that's 3 cars out of the race then.
Oh, did that even about? I'm going to have to go do the apologise. Can't quite get to the beginning. They come round the corner leaning on each other. Then, Mark Ked, what are you doing? Pushing that BMW. Come straight across the racetrack, not holding his brakes off the barrier, not holding his brakes. Callum Milam. Wow.
The innocent victim there. We're lucky we didn't lose more of the Anfield as well in that interaction. As we see Michael Gray now getting alongside Harry 7. He's going to have to go the long way round into the Variante Prima. This is going to have to be late on the brakes, James, to secure this one.
Yeah, absolutely. Right up here.
Maybe he's thinking big picture though. It's not far to a McLaren in front. He can just hang on to his coattails and maybe have a chance of getting back into the top 8 here.
Maybe, I don't know. Ben Alcher, Matty Hoyland there as well. Mark had no brakes. He tried holding them, but he had no brakes whatsoever, apparently. 2012. Obviously, I'm not inside the car. Oh, I can't see. Wheels move. No brakes pushed on that one, Mark. Now on this one, because have a look. No brakes stopping.
While this is going on, by the way, oh, again, big hit again. James Moore and Daniel Poole are fighting over 2nd in AM. They just went side by side. There they are, still going side by side, and it's the BMW of Moore back through then, much to the chagrin of Daniel Poole.
Oh, I think, I'll say this, I think Dan Poole may come to armour. They swapped plate before they got to got a funny feeling, a little bit of armour slide coming out there as well. Dan Poole on the left, right hand side is Moore, and he curls it up. It's going to be contact. No, they're still running side by side. Specific couple of times. Now Paul's going to go in slow, or is it? Oh, right. Slow on the exit there, Ed, and unfortunately for him, going to have to go back at him once again. But it's a great hand fight taking shape between James Moore and Dan Poole. But why they're doing this, currently Shane Wells is motoring.
Yeah, look, here he is. He's starting to challenge the back of the pro runners as well, and getting a healthy dose of slipstream as he does so. 9.2 seconds ahead of James Moore, of course. But yeah, the more that Moore and Poole fight each other, and it definitely looked like Daniel Poole was, it was a very, very cool, amazing to run side by side, and very entertaining for us, of course. But it's losing both of them time, and you could tell Daniel Poole was just playing it safe because he didn't want to just needlessly clatter into his title rival there. And having said that, now Shane Wells is actually starting to get held up here. Who's that in front of him in the pro class?
Rob McKee from DXT.
It's Rob, yeah. So, yeah, that could actually go against Shane here if he can't make progress quickly. He could find himself sort of almost limited by the pace of the pro runners in front of him.
And as well, just found out that Ben was frustrated with himself and totally forgot to hold his brakes. So, possibly their Welsh boy may have had brakes, but he didn't hold them. Totally forgot to hold his brakes. So he took his hands off the wheel and the car just went wherever it wants to go. Quite sure that's going to be quite as happy for Callum Milan there, who got complete out. But hey, we'll leave them to fight that one out as we're sitting here watching Altria and Hoyland in this second and third spot, having a nice little battle in the pros. Michael Gray moving his way now. He's got Jean McLuhan in front of him further back behind that, just behind these guys at the moment. Also Sam Berry, he's tucked in right behind the Porsche at the same time. There was a mistake actually there. I do apologise from Ben Altria. That's going to allow Matty Hoyland to climb all the way in.
Yeah, the Lamborghini's having a very good day so far, first and third, but they want to run 1-2, or at least Matt Hoyland is determined to make that happen for him. But Ben Altria, with that slower exit, knows if he sticks to the racing line, it will become the inside here. But Hoyland knows he can go as deep on the brakes as he can. A little bit of contact made, but enough space left by the Lexus there of Ben Altria. And Hoyland is through. They can't afford to lose too much time scrapping with each other because Harry Hartley-Price is holding up a train of cars, including Sam Berry and Andy White, who aren't far behind. And Michael Gray has actually cleared John McLaren and gotten up to 7th. He's only about 5.8 seconds in a rear, so it's not out of the question for Gray to get involved in this podium fight before the end.
Absolutely. And Ben Altria is a Acura.
That's it, sorry.
Yeah, that's right. I was going to say, unless all of a sudden there's a Lexus coming to iRace. But hey, onwards and upwards we move here. Ben Altria sitting in third place. Done, don't worry. Oh, that
one. Silly Le Mans Ultimate commentator, that's my problem. They haven't even introduced the Lexus yet.
Exactly. Harry Hartley-Price with Sam Berry and Andy White in behind them. They're all closing in here. Dan Paul and James Moore have literally stuck together like Velcro and have not left each other alone. This is a great battle for second and third there. Want to apologise for not holding brakes during my incident. Was so frustrated I pretty much just got up and out of my rig. Sorry to Callum first and foremost. So there we go. Well, you're lucky, Mark. Welsh boy said you had none altogether. So, you know, he was sticking up for you, Mark. He was. Unfortunately, you've just come out and admitted that you didn't hold him. As Dan Paul tries to get around the outside, more still on that inside line. I'm loving this. If I was in this, I would be smiling from ear to ear about now, Ed, with these two having a right little ding-dong.
Yeah, just like the Cheshire Cats. We see Sergio Cabral. He has had enough. He's going into the pits, but his teammate on the inside, side by side with Daniel Poole, as they dispute not just second place, but the championship leader. BMW's got the inside, but the Porsche is further ahead and now takes the inside on exit there. Which of the two gets the better exit? It might actually be the BMW of Moore, who is all alternating his headlights side by side as if to mesmerize Daniel Poole into submission here. But the BMW is going to try and go up the inside again into the second chicane. He's got the run. Can he brake late enough to pull this off? Or will the Porsche sweep through? The 82 holds on. Daniel Poole back into second position.
Yeah. Do you know what is really interesting, actually? Because when you watch that happen in turn one, it was almost a very much to me, to you, to me, to you. They were so desperate to not try and hit each other that nobody really wanted to go through. And Dan Paul in the end just went, all right, I'm off, I'm going, I'll see you later. So he went through, but we've got to go back up to the front here because Altria and Hoyland again have been back together. So these guys have now rejoined each other. Altria now's got an opportunity in that Acura to go against this Lamborghini. It's not a car that you are seeing around much longer here as well. It's not a car that we see all the time. It's not something driven. But I can tell you what, the hands of Harry Gaylor and Matt Hoyland, this Lamborghini is an absolute flying machine. And the Acura of Altria just cannot even get near him.
Yeah, the driver that's flying at the moment, though, is still Michael Ray, 147.5. He was nearly 2.5 seconds quicker than Sam Berry in front of him. So he is chewing into that gap, just 3.3 seconds behind at the moment, though. So this might be why Ben Altria, if his strategy was to save fuel, run a bit longer, he might be getting a hurry up here because Michael Gray could well be frightening these two by the end if he keeps up the pace that he's showing at the moment, which is at least 7/10 quicker than them per lap.
You can see in the background as well. They're still side by side. Oh my God, how long have they been going side by side for? James Moore, Dan Paul, once again in that side by side action. BMW, Porsche on the run around now as well. Dan Paul tucks in right behind him once more. On the run into the second variante. Is he going to dive up the inside? He is. Is this going to be a to me, to you moment? Are we going to watch Paul go through? We are. Watch the exit of the BMW though. He got the grit down. The BMW, the Porsche had a little bit of a slide on there, Ed. And once again, Moore has been overtaken by Paul, but Paul's got to be careful in that Porsche. He's got to be careful getting the power down. He did have a little bit of a wiggle coming out of Variante.
Yeah, it's because he had to go so deep into the chicane that on the exit, he had to get the traction on very, very early to hold the position, and he just about touched the gravel as well. As you can see, the BMW tucked right in behind. James Moore is looking for an opening here. These two will have to pit soon, of course, and Shane Wells will be loving this because this just allowed him to extend that gap to nearly 13 seconds now. So no danger of being undercut whatsoever, unless... we see Cabral get a monster undercut, as well as we see a little bit of action further up as John McLuhan enters the pit lane, and back up the inside goes James Moore on Poole.
Yeah, we've also had Wells swap places with McGee. They're running side by side near enough at the same time, but this battle, they are literally side by side, going down into turn one, and McGee drops in behind, loses that place to Wells. Wells is a bit slow on the exit. McGee's going to come back at him here through the second variante, on through the run through Curva Bassano they go. Is he going to be able to get it up the side at the moment? Is this what Wells needs, though, Ed? Is he just not doing himself a favour because of the fact that he's battling? I know Dan Paul and Moore have been going at each other constantly, but does Shane Wells need fitness?
Well, I think... if he doesn't do it, he's going to get stuck behind. You always want to be moving forward, even if you are in the lead of your class. You want to build that lead as big as you can without risking your tyres too much and pushing too hard, of course. And it gives him something to keep him focused as well, fighting with another car for position. We also see, by the way, I think at the first chicane, Severin and White must have got tangled up with one another because Michael Gray passed both of them and is now back into the top six. Rob McGee just about holds on there from Shane Wells and gets back through.
Andy White. Sam Berry tucked in. There goes Andy White. That's how he got through. Michael Gray got through on Andy White there. Seven comes him as well. Michael Gray moving him up. They're all in pit lane at this moment in time. Everybody, right at the front, all in pit lane. Shane Wells is in pit lane. Is Dan Paul going to come in this time around? Yes, Joseph Lopez is also due in the pits. Got to come in as well. Sean, in he goes. Sean McLuhan, however, is the first of the hitters, I should say. And he's going to find out how high up he's going to be able to go here. He should clear possibly six cars. Depends how quickly they're going to be on their way out. There's a few of them on the way out now. You can see them on the right-hand side. He gets past Andy White. Just about grabs hold of Harry Severin. So Harry's got a slot in behind Andy White there. That's a back marker, I believe, and Callum Milam has come back out onto the racetrack. Fair play to him. Shane Wells, Stephen Donnelly side by side. Wells get the power down. Nope. Donnelly possibly gets hold of him there. And for Shane Wells, he's back in front of Rob McKee again.
And James Moore, crucially, is undercut by pitting a lap early. He's now 2 seconds ahead of Daniel Poole. So that's one way to break the deadlock between the two of them and build that gap. But you've got to wonder if Daniel Poole is going to try his hardest to close it back up again as we look at Stephen Donnelly now trying to stop Shane Wells from getting into the overall top 10 in this race. But Wells, he's still got that 12-second buffer to his nearest direct competitor in class. So he will just be loving this. And like I said, just looking to move forward as high as he can up the overall order. But Michael Gray, by the way, is now half a second behind Sam Berry and very, very close to passing that Mustang for 5th position in this race as he gets a great exit out of Ascari.
At the moment, Michael Gray tucked in right behind him, come into Parabolica now. Gray's looking for the side. What's Berry going to be able to do? Is he doing anything? Gray's late on the brakes in that Corvette. Berry with the Mustang. It's two American muscles going at it here. Who's going to have the guns to succeed? by the time they get down into turn number 1. Is it going to be Michael Gray? Is it going to be Sam Berry? Berry flashing now as well. In he goes here once again. Which way is he going to go? Is he flashing him to say, I'm going to stay? Or is he... Oh, do you know what, Ed? I'm wondering whether or not that was a flash of, actually, mate, I'm going to stay here.
You're not worth it, mate. That's what he's trying to say there.
Yeah, I don't know if that was... Yeah, I don't know if it was a not worth it or don't worry about defending. I ain't got the pace to keep up with him.
Yeah, sometimes you do have to do your own race, and Michael Gray's here because of that mistake we saw of him spinning off out of the first Lesmo as well, which he'll no doubt be still kicking himself for, but he's definitely got his head down and is just focused on picking them off one by one, and that's got him from 11th position back up to 5th. 2 seconds now separate him from Harry Hartley-Price, and then he won't be too far away from that Matt Hoyland, Ben Triller podium fight. As great, pushing a little bit too hard out of Lesmo 2, nearly sends the whole car into the gravel, but just about rescues it. But that shows you how many risks he's taking in that Corvette to try and get back to the front. He knows he's blown the win, I think. The best he can do is maybe get back up to second, because Harry Gaylor is starting to run away with this one up front.
Yeah, I'm a little bit wary of that. The problem I've got at the moment is that Altria and Hoyland have really got to leave each other alone. This is the thing. They've got to kind of, for a couple of laps, just say, right, Matty, you go, or let me go. Because all of this fighting is bringing the gap down. And we put it in perspective to Michael Gray, 5.15 seconds. Gray last time out there did it was a 220 lap. We can't really count that because it was basically coming in pit lane. But let's see what Altria does this time. 47.7. What does Michael Gray do? 47.18. 6 tenths quicker than these guys. Have they now got to go and try and play follow and leader, Ed, rather than looking at trying to battle each other to make sure that Michael Gray doesn't get them? Because 6 tenths at the moment over the next 15 minutes at 2 minutes a lap, or 147 a lap, it's only going to give them another probably 6-7 laps maybe. So 7 times 6, oh my God, it's 42, 4.5 seconds. It's going to be right near them coming into the final lap.
Yeah, that's true, but look at it from Ben Trilla's point of view. If he just decides, right, I'm just going to follow Matt Hoyland around, and he gets caught by Michael Gray anyway, then that's a podium that he's potentially going to lose. So there's a point here where as we go into these last 14 minutes where it becomes every man for himself. And Gray, of course, has still got to clear Harry Hartley-Price, who's half a second in front of him as well. But he is setting, as you say, 6 tenths a lap quicker lap times. So as we see Triller just starting to trail ever so slightly, dropping to 3 tenths behind Matt Hoyland now. And he's going to have to regroup and try again. But it's a Corvette versus Porsche, and Sam Berry can only watch on in that pink Mustang.
What Hartley-Price is going to do here. Obviously, RC champion, not a puppy, not going to roll over and get his belly to. But what sort of top-end speed has that Porsche got against its Corvette? I'm very, very worried that at the moment that Porsche's not quite got the oomph of this Corvette. Is this a move into turn 1? It is. Is Hartley-Price going to do anything about it? Absolutely not, Ed. Literally didn't even move, didn't even attempt to block, didn't even attempt to defend. Bye-bye, Michael Gray.
Yeah, and let's not forget, of course, that Corvette did tap the wall. There will be a little bit of damage to the front. Doesn't seem to have affected the top speed one little bit, though. And, yeah, Michael Gray has had a wonderful recovery so far in this race. But I think if you are Harry Hartley-Price and Sam Berry, you're relying on there being fireworks up front between Hoyland and a Triller. And maybe even Gray as well, if he can join the fight quickly. That all three of those will fight each other, and they can sort of join the back of the queue and pick up the pieces if there is any left on the table when they all come to grief and come to blows. But meanwhile, James Moore has maintained that gap over Daniel Poole in the fight for second. He's actually 2.8 seconds ahead now. So things are really going the way of the BMW man in that fight for the championship lead.
Yeah, and that will have something to do as well. The 18.85 second stop for James Moore, but the 21.9 second stop for Dan Poole. but that's not going to help. Chris Haynes.
You have to put on more fuel from getting early.
Not 3 seconds. All that is mighty long difference between them, because everybody, the problem is there's a massive average here as well. You've got 17:02s, but well, even down into the 16 for Harry Hartley Price here, 16:87. And then you've got the likes of, where was the 22? The 22.18 of Mike Walters. So there's a massive spread there on where we are going to be in conjunction with fuel. Who's going to be carrying an absolute ton of fuel at them, and who's going to be able to be making, carrying the bare minimum. Now, down here earlier on, Connor Pink had a great run over Sergio Cabral. In fact, I think that is going to be a dive and a half. Oh, God, blimey. Way back.
Oh, Cabral went really deep and then got really cautious on the exit there. Felt like he just saw him coasting up to the back, Connor Pink, and decided he didn't want to have any bit of that as well. So Cabral, unfortunately, after a strong start avoiding the chaos, just found himself slowly being shuffled down the pack, which is not great for the Portuguese driver, but nonetheless still in the top 5 in class. So there's still decent points on the table if he can keep going and keep out of all the chaos that we've seen so far today. As we cut back to Sam Berry, who now has got Harry Hartley Price all to himself as Michael Gray continues to lap 8 tenths quicker than Atrilla and Hoyland as they duel against each other. In fact, Gray's lapping about 2 tenths quicker than Harry Gayler, but I think Gayler, 4 seconds up the road from second and third, knows that he just has to keep consistent, and he has potentially got a chance to take his first win of the season.
147.44 for Michael Gray, put in perspective 48.22 for Matty Hoyland. Sam Berry on the lights there, son. If you are going to get past him, please just back. Not paying any attention to you whatsoever. Now, what is going to happen here with Ben Altria and Matty Hoyland? Something's got to give. There's a very fast looming Corvette seconds behind you at the moment. And here we go. They're going to try and go side by side at the moment. Hoyland loses that position to Altria. Altria gets that Acura stopped here. Does manage to go through, and Matty Hoyland goes down into 3rd place with Michael Gray. That one little bit of conflict almost just cost them guys nearly 6 tenths of a second.
Yeah, Atrilla, Altria, sorry. Ben was really just playing chicken on the brakes there with Matt Hoyland, and Matt Hoyland decided that he would lose track position, tuck in behind, and try and live to fight another day. But as you say, exactly what you predicted is coming true. Michael Gray is just taking chunks out of them both as they dispute this position with each other. And it is also just allowing Harry Gayler to waltz away up front. Harry Gayler, though, is starting to catch the back marker. As you see again, the track limits being pushed to the absolute margins by Michael Gray at Lesmo 2, as he's desperate just to not let them get any time on him whatsoever. But of course, Callum Milam is about to be lapped by Harry Gayler. Be interested to see if the back markers end up halting his progress ever so slightly. But you would think Gayler, with 8 minutes left in this race, isn't going to be taking too many risks.
Nope. And you would have thought the back markers will be amicable enough to remove themselves from the equation of interfering with a lead battle. Why that's happening, this is going on. Hey, Harry Hartley Price and Sam Berry. Berry's just gone up the inside. This is going to be a straight drag race down into turns number 1. Berry on the left in the Mustang should, and I say this in a loose term, should have the power over that Porsche going down into turn number 1. Porsche laid on the brakes. That was either Price very, very late, or Berry very, very early.
I think Berry sort of realized that he would benefit more from tucking in behind, and rather than going for a marginal move side by side there. That was Berry backing off, lifting off quite early. So you see Stephen Donnelly passing Andy White. Andy White, I think, has lost 2 positions there in that Audi.
Yeah, it does look like he has, unfortunately, for Andy White, but that could have something to do with this. All on his own.
Terry 7 in front of him into the first chicane. Does he spin up the rear? Oh, he does, and he does it very early as well. And then he has to wait an agonizingly long time before rejoining the track. And we've seen quite a few drivers do that as well, as Andy White finds a gap and gets going behind Shane Wells.
Now these guys are still here continuing to scrap. The gap now 1.8, 6.5 minutes to go here, Ed. Can Michael Gray get these two?
Yeah, look at Altria just absolutely extending the track coming out of a Ascari chicane there, and now towards Parabolica they come again, as it looks like Berry is having two goes at trying to get up into fifth position. Oh, and he's trying to give the audience and Harry Hartley-Price epilepsy there by flashing so much there. But the lights, as you say, he's not going to get it by just pressing one button on his steering wheel to the road. It looks like at Hartley-Price, it's not going to be intimidated so easily, even by that pink Mustang bearing down on him like a ton of bricks. And this time Berry is a little bit closer to the inside. But again, the Porsche more confident on the brakes, and he's the one that actually is intimidating Sam Berry, sort of stopping him from diving up the inside into the first chicane there.
Yeah, that's the thing, I think, here for Sam Berry. I'm not quite sure what he thinks he's achieving by flashing the lights. I don't know if he feels that actually it's doing something, because for me it's not really doing anything apart from being a complete and utter pain in the bum, because Price is guaranteed that he's not going to be looking at where the lights are coming from. I never fully understand it. In fact, I do moan about it because it does drive me bonkers. If you've got the speed, you've got the pace, and you've got the ability, you don't have to do it by pressing an extra button on your steering wheel. You can and should be able to make it through. However, he's pushing that Mustang to the limits, because that had a big old snap on, and he nearly didn't end up doing anything with it apart from hitting the wall there.
Yeah, it does look like Hoyland and Altria have decided to calm it down a bit, and now they are actually starting to lap, well, they're still being caught actually by almost a second a lap by Michael Gray, but Altria having a better lap, 148.5 here. So Gray is going to have a couple of goes at them, but with them so close together and fighting each other, this is sort of going to be a little bit less straightforward for Michael Gray. I'll have to pick off both of them at the same time rather than one at a time, unless one of them makes a mistake and falls back from the other.
Yeah, absolutely, but I'm not quite sure what Altria or Hoyland's going to do. Are they going to be staying there? Are they not going to be staying there? What's going to be the situation here as well?
Oh, very defensive from Altria.
Yeah, he's on a defense, trying to make him go through. Looks like Callum Milam's had a little bit of a horrid time currently at the moment. But is this going to be Altria's moment? Is this going to be where he's going to be able to leave Hoyland to battle Gray? Is Hoyland going to be able to stay in front of Gray? I don't think they're going to get Gayler. I've got to be honest, Ed. I think Gayler's too far up the road. But the way Michael Gray is coming at them is like an absolute banshee at the moment. And I think he's going to end up grabbing these two in and around the final lap, which is where we said it would be when we were talking about this a little bit earlier, when I was trying to do maths, which was just impossible. But I think this is the thing. He's going to be near them. Either it's going to be right at the end of this lap or right at the beginning of the next one.
Yeah, it's difficult to judge this because he's just not got a whole lot of time to close up, and he knows that time is very much against him here. But nonetheless, 147.4 for Gray. Even though Matt Hoyland set a personal best, it was 147.7, so 3/10 slower. And Hoyland is again, of course, gaining in the slipstream behind Altria, who was 2/10 slower than him in turn. So yeah, Gray might be able to sneak onto the podium, but I think he knows that he's running out of time to mount a bid for second here.
Yeah, it's coming down and down now. The time is slipping for Gray. There's going to be one and one more. I think Gayler probably hoped there wouldn't be. Now, where is this going to be in and around affecting the guys who have got these 16, early 17-second stops here? Again, they're going side by side, Hoyland and Altria. Again, are they going to make it? Nope, it's not. Altria just, again, carries on. But now look at Gray. He's going to have two bites of the cherry at two individuals who have been having an absolute prize fight through Monza GP circuit. Is he going to be able to take this? Is Hoyland going to be able to get there? Matty Hoyland going to be hard on the brakes. They're side by side, little bit of door rubbing. Rubbin is racing. Hoyland says, thank you very much. I'm going to leave you to battle Michael Gray.
There we go. So Hoyland making the move and now making a bid for freedom at exactly the crucial moment there as they all push aggressively onto the curb out of Lesmo 1 and into Lesmo 2. The exact same thing happens, especially Hoyland drifting it out a bit wide. But he knows now he needs to escape before Michael Gray gets past Ben Altria, because he knows that he's next on the menu in the limited time we have left in this race as we watch on board with Michael Gray, the podium within his grasp. I think he didn't think this was going to be on the cards when he was backwards in the gravel and falling down to 11th position earlier, but he's put in a monster of a fight back here to limit the damage, and this is why he's in the lead of the championship.
And this is why we're going to see what these two teammates are going to be able to do now. Both of them from full tilt, Ben Altria and Michael Gray. Is this going to be a let me through, I'm leading the championship? Or is this Ben Altria going, nah, I ain't giving it up here, son. You want it? Come get it. Is this where the situation's going to evolve? It's both full tilt cars going side by side. The rules of racing. Don't ever take out your teammate. Altria's late on the brakes. Gray's late on the brakes. Altria's going to be looking at the inside. Gray gets the job done. He slides on the way out right in front of Altria. Altria taps him. He has nowhere to go with him there, Ed. But I can tell you one thing, for Ben Altria, I bet he wish he hadn't, because he had got a better run out of that corner than Michael Gray had.
You always regret it in retrospect, don't you? As we see Harry Gale is now starting to lap some of the back markers as again Ben Altria is almost pushing Michael Gray along. Gray is really starting to run out of tyres at the end of this race, he sense.
Yep. But all the while they've done this. Look at the gap that now Matty Hoyland's got. Hoyland's now opened up 2 seconds because Michael Gray's tyres have all of a sudden just dropped off a cliff on the final lap of the race. Altria is going to be kicking himself for almost letting Gray through, because he probably doesn't have this tyre issue, and he probably should have carried on here in front of Michael Gray by the looks of it, because it's now down to 1.9 seconds. And Hoyland's just like, well, I'm going to leave you guys to carry on. If you're slipping and sliding, I'm all good. See ya later. Harry Gaylor, one man who has gone see ya later. He's done it from the very beginning, up 2 places right at the beginning, and off he's gone again here. Going to make it over the line. He's going to wrap up the win in the pros. Harry Gaylor takes this victory here. Great job at Monza. Well done to him. Hoyland comes over the line in 2nd place there as well. Michael Gray did manage to stay in front of Ben Altria to get 3rd. Sam Berry still not behind Hartley Price. Hartley Price and Berry over the line they go as well. And we must give a big shout out to Shane Wells, who has done an absolute stunning job of staying in front of the AMs all the way through the race, and a great job from him as he comes over the line to wrap up the win in that AM class. Over he goes. Great job. And to be honest with you, James Moore stayed in front of Dan Paul, but only by 1.5 seconds. So there we go.
Yeah, and a brilliant performance, as you say, from Shane Wells, who I don't see in the top 11 in the AM standings yet. So that's a really good way for him in round 3 to get his season started. As we see Moore crossing the line ahead of Daniel Poole. For Moore's teammate Cabral had a horrible final lap there. He lost about 3 positions. Is that him trying to get back alongside Paul West, but he falls just short at the end there. But Lopez, Haynes and West all got him at the end, as because he dipped his wheels into the gravel on the exit of the second variante there, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. That is the weirdest thing I've just seen ever as these guys continue to fight. This is the run of Joseph Lopez over Sergio Cabral, and then Cabral gets Lopez, Lopez gets him, and then Haynes passes Cabral a little bit further up in the lap. But these guys side by side leave room. They do leave room. Fair play. Almost.
Cabral left a little too much room, I would argue.
Yeah, I would say as well. But let's bring you up the results of this evening's race. Harry Gaylor is your winner there as well. and a great job from him in first place with Matty Hoyland, Michael Gray, Ben Altria, Harry Hartley-Price, Sam Berry, Jean McLuhan, Harry Severin and Stephen Donnelly. Shane Wells wrapping up the win in the AMS there. So a great job from Shane and a very, very good job from him taking that victory in the AMS. Then you got Andy White, Ron McGee, James Moore, Dan Paul, Connor Pink, Joseph Lopez, Chris Haynes and Paul West in behind that one. Further back, Mark Wesley, Mike Walters and Sergio Cabral on the lead lap. Tim Waters a lap down, Callum Milam a lap down, and the non-finishers of Tim Reed, Mark Kent, Terry Exton, Nathan Healy, Peter Duke, and obviously Joe Sparrow. Sean Clark did not take to the start. What do you think, Ed? Good race?
Pretty good. I think Gray dropping it and then fighting back to third was quite entertaining to watch, although I'm sure Michael Gray will be the fact that instead of extending that 19-point championship lead, Matt Hoyland and Harry Gaylor, the winner, of course, have eaten into it. And yeah, great fight for second as well in GT3 AM as well, between Poole and Moore behind our race winner, of course. So yeah, plenty of action up and down the field. Difficult to predict which way it was going to go, but yeah, two very, very deserving winners, I think.
Absolutely, and let's have a chat with one of them winners now. Here, your man that took the overall victory and went on to take the win in the race. One Mr. Harry Gaylor in one of the only few Lamborghinis in this grid. Harry, welcome in, son. Fair play and well done.
Appreciate it, guys. A bit of Italian on Italian stallion action. Love it.
Yeah, it definitely was there, but Matty had his own problems, unfortunately, mate.
He did.
He was battling away with Ben Altria and Michael Gray there as well. How was it out there, though? Did you kind of ran away with it a little bit, escaped up the road a bit, and did everything quite early on in the race?
To be honest, I made almost no mistakes. It was a very clean run for myself.
It was, yes, and well done to you for that one. How do you think the season's going to go with you, though, Harry? Where do you think you're going to end up here? You're sitting in fourth coming into this race. You know, we've got some good tracks coming up as well. Where do you think you're going to end up?
I think hopefully a P3 would be lovely. I think I could battle for that. If Mike keeps it on track, he'll be all right. But first mistake, you guys called it last week. If he makes a mistake, people have opportunities to catch up, and he made a mistake.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You're only human, right? You're not driven by AI robots, are you, Harry?
This is it. Well, hopefully I'm not anyway, but this is it.
Yeah, exactly. And he did end up going to make a mistake there as well. Nürburgring GP circuit. What do we reckon? The Lambo, how's it going to handle it?
I have driven 0 laps, so I have not a clue, but I'm hoping just for the best. Bit of power to the track.
Okay. Fair play, Harry. Anyone you want to shout out before we let you go, bud?
Mike, good luck next time, mate.
Okay, mate. Take care, Harry. Have a good one, fella.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Oh, dear. I feel there was a lot more to that than I probably should go through. We've got a plethora of people to pick here, but I'm going to jump down into second place in the pros. The man had his own prize fight with Ben Altria for the whole entire race and probably come away with a broken nose and a couple of black eyes. They were scrapping it out that were all the way through there. Matty, welcome in, bud. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you guys?
I'm all right, mate. That looked fun for you.
Yeah, but busy, I think. Yeah, non-stop the whole way through. Got very acquainted with that Acura of Ben's, but yeah, really good race. Obviously, really glad to come out on top. It's I feel like I'm spoiling the party for these full tilt cars a little bit, but you know, it's good fun getting up there with them.
Hey, listen, at the end of the day, mate, that's what you're there to do, right? You're not there to roll over and let them go through. So, you know, good. And I think that one of the things as well that cost Ben was actually Michael overtaking him. Because once Michael got through, his tyres dropped off like an absolute rocket and he was sliding over the last couple of laps like a trooper, which allowed you to go and motor on. So, you know, they kind of jeopardised themselves in the process there, Matt, as well. Going forward for you, though, buddy, Nürburgring GP coming up next week. How are we going to get on?
All right, I'm hoping. I mean, I'm gonna get plenty of practice of that track this weekend in the Nürburgring 24. Obviously,
Mm-hmm.
not the same car, but still gonna get plenty of laps in on almost a full GP circuit. So I don't know. We'll take it as it comes. I hadn't really done many laps around Monza before tonight either, and I've pulled out a really good result. So hopefully, just more of the same. No, I didn't really make any mistakes tonight, and I think that's ultimately what allowed me to get that P2 versus the guys around me. So yeah, more of the same. Stay consistent. Hope that they trip up.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, fair play, mate, and congratulations on your second place. Anyone you want to shout out before we let you go?
Yeah, shout out to Rob Mackay, and also Stephen Donnelly. They've been in chat with me this evening. So hopefully they're good racers. I'm not sure how they got on just yet because I jumped straight in for interview. So yeah, otherwise, just shout out to DXT, which is my usual team. But apart from that, I think that's it.
Now, you got Danny Ware in YouTube chat going, whoop, go Matt. So,
I have, yeah.
you know, you got a fan base there somewhere, mate. There you go, son. All right, fella. Well, have a good one, mate, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you very much, guys. Catch
Take
you later.
care. Right, next up, we're going to go in through the AMs. We'll have a chat with James Moore here as well. James finished second after him and Dan Paul decided that Velcro was going to join them for the whole entire race and then come into the pit stops. James has had enough. He got out the scissors, he cut the strip off and said, Dan, I'm on my bike, son. So Dan, well done, James. How are you, buddy?
I am sweating after that one. That was so intense. I tell you what, the race with Dan, the first half of that race was absolutely quality. We were just talking in the green room about how intense it was, and yeah, we really enjoyed that.
Yeah, dude, even I sat up here in the booth and I said, if I was in this now with you two battling it out like that, face to face, even if I was driving, I would have a big old smile on my face. It looked absolutely amazing.
Grinning from ear to ear, mate. Absolutely loved it.
Oh, mate, when it's like that, though, and it ends so well that you actually both get to the end of the race as well, which was always good. But it was into the pit stops. I can tell you now that Dan's pit stop was about 2 seconds and a little bit slower than yours, which gave you that 2-second gap coming out. But absolutely stunning there as well. Not the top step, though. Got done by Shane Wells after breaking your 2 out of 2 streak.
Well, you know, you can't win them all, so I've just got to look forward to the next couple of races. Nürburgring is a favourite of mine. I'm really looking forward to Spa and Daytona. So yeah, it's not over yet.
Yeah, well, I'm going to be interested to see how this turns out. I think this battle between you and Dan as well is going to have a good old fight. And if old Mr. Wells carries on, it's going to make it even more interesting. But listen up, James, thanks so much for joining us there, buddy. Anyone you want to shout out before we let you go?
Everybody really, you know, everybody who's organised it, you know, the Tanso Racing Group, they've been absolutely fantastic, very welcoming. Yourself, really, it's been absolute pleasure joining this league. And thank you very much for the broadcast, really.
Awesome job. Well, James, thanks so much there, mate. Look forward to speaking to you soon and take care.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Right, next up, I'm going to get this man out the way here. He had a great race. He climbed up 6 places as well. He's a daddy to be on his way here at the same time. Mr. Connor Pink. Connor, welcome in, bud.
Hello, you all right?
Yeah, not bad, mate. You?
Yeah, sorry, I was just just in there congratulating Dan and James. I drove behind them for about 10 laps, and I was amazed at them not wiping each other out. It was really impressive.
Oh, mate, they were having an absolute ding-dong at one point. It was absolutely quality as well. So you didn't actually pop in to have a chat with me then? You just popped in down there to talk to them, is that right?
Well, yeah, I'd always chat to you, but yeah, I was just down there having a little chinwag with them about their driving. They were amazing. I had an absolute stinker of a qualifying, and then I managed to climb back up, so it wasn't too bad.
Yeah, well, you had old Teresa at YouTube, mate, and so popped in as well. So, well, you know, go on, go for your life, son. So, fair play to you, mate, as well. Listen, Nürburgring GP, how are you going to get on there?
Yeah, I like Nürburgring. It's all right. I'm nowhere near the pace of some of these really fast guys, so I'm just enjoying it. Really, it's good fun getting in there and getting mixed in. So yeah, it's been really fun. I'm looking forward to Nürburgring, and yeah, it's I seem to do all right around there. It's not the easiest track, but we'll see how it goes.
Do you think you should be in pros?
Yeah, I think I'm bottom end of pros, to be honest. Yeah, I'm not sure my pace is with some of these faster guys, but I'm still enjoying mixing it up with some of the AMs, so it's good fun anyway.
All right, mate. Well, listen, I better get on. Have a good one, bud. Anyone you want to shout out
Yeah,
before we
take
let
it.
you go?
Just you guys and my mum and Sophie in the chat, and obviously Dan and James for having an absolute banger of a race. That was well entertaining watching that from two places back. So yeah, good honour.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Connor. Take care, mate. Catch you soon.
Take it easy. Bye bye.
All right. Right, now we're going to go down to we've heard from one half of the Velcro duo. We're now going to talk to the second half of the Velcro duo, Mr. Daniel Poole, who between him and James Moore, they were stuck together like super glue all the way through the race until that extra 2 seconds in the pit stop. Let's find out if there was a mistake, because Dan's joined us in the booth here as well. Dan, welcome in, bud.
Good evening. How you doing all?
I'm all right, mate. How are you?
Yeah, just getting over that. It's brilliant.
Yeah, it was good racing. 2 seconds lost in the pit stop.
Yeah, it's a mistake. I just too much fuel in.
Was that you or was that?
That's me. Yeah, just panicking because it's me panicking. I did another one. Don't know why. I'm still new to this. I'm getting used to the pit stops thing. So.
Oh, mate, set it on
My
auto
mistake.
stop. Let it do it for you. You know what I mean? Put it on average
Fair
lap and away you go, and you'll end up there or thereabouts, mate, as well. But listen, dude, that looked absolutely amazing fun, though. You know, you two
Yeah, it was.
were having a proper ding dong, and it was just backwards and forth. I don't even dread to think how many times you guys swapped places throughout that race. I don't even think I could, to be blatantly honest with
No.
you. But it just.
I lost count.
Oh, mate, yeah, I have as well, because literally the bottom half of my timing software is literally you overtaking James Moore and James coming back overtaking you. And it was just an absolute classic evening. Are these the evenings that you sit back and it really does make you smile?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, be buzzing off this for a few days. I had a really bad round in the last race, and I apologise to all the people I got involved with. But to make it up here is great.
Yeah, absolutely. Well done. Congratulations, mate. Well done anyway on your third place. Anyone you want to shout out before we let you go?
To you guys, you're amazing. I watch this back, and it's just great. You do a fantastic job. So to you and everyone in the lobby tonight, they were brilliant. Thank you.
Awesome, Dan. Thanks so much for your kind words there, fella, and we'll look forward to speaking to you next week.
Hopefully, see you later.
Take care. Right, next up on the list is your winner. He gained 6 places throughout this race. He was mixing it in with the pros. Does that mean he should be one? Let's find out what Shane says about that one. Shane, welcome in, bud. How are you?
How are you, mate?
I'm
Thank
all right,
you.
mate. How are you?
Yeah, mate. What a race. Wow.
Should you be
This
a
has been
pro?
like, I don't know. This is my first one. I just turned up on the whim.
Rocked up.
And wow.
Won the
Yeah.
AMs. Gained 6 spaces and finished in the top 10.
I definitely don't think pro. There's some quick boys on that track. I'll give them that.
Oh, mate, they're definitely.
Don't think.
They're
Yeah,
definitely
they're
is.
rapid.
Yeah, they definitely are. But for you, where is it going then, Shane? Like you said, you just rocked up first race tonight. Where are you? What's the plan? Because obviously you can drive. Obviously you can mix it in with the guys in and around you. Because you and Rob Mackay were having a great old ding dong throughout pretty much of that race. It was the battle of the BMWs almost. And you know, where do you think then you should be? Where do you think if you could come to us and say, right, I think I'm going to be here. Where do you think you're going to end up?
Mate, I am going to stick it on them all, regardless. I'm just coming out. I don't know. That was buzzing, you know what I mean? I'm turning up next week to see how it goes again. Anyone in front of me, I'm coming.
Yeah, but we're going to do this cleanly though, Shane, right?
Oh, of course, every time. There's nothing more satisfying than a clean race. It's position doesn't matter. It's the battles. Keep it clean, respectful every time.
Absolutely agree with you, Shane. I can only say well done, fella. I look forward to seeing if they're going to make any changes to you after next week. You better not do quite so well, mate, otherwise you'll end up in pros the week later. But listen, mate, it's been a pleasure having a chat with you. Anyone you want to shout out before we let you go?
Yo, nice to meet you first of all.
Nice to meet you too,
And
sir.
I'm gonna shout out Dan Fendick. That's I race for another league. He's put me onto these boys, so big shout out to Dan for meeting these good people. So
Awesome job.
we'll catch him about.
All right,
Nice
man.
one, mate.
Take care, fella. Well, there you go. That was pretty much the podiums of AMs and pros here this evening. And all of them sounded absolutely made up with what had happened out there on the racetrack.
Yeah, two time winners this season in terms of well, I think Harry Gaylor might have a couple of wins under his belt before, but yeah, certainly as you said, Shane turns up for the first time and yeah, blows everyone away. There was a bit of chaos at the start behind him, which certainly cleared the way, but nonetheless, he absolutely made hay once the opportunity was put into his hands, and he even gave a lot of the pros a run for their money by finishing in the overall top 10. So yeah, that's a man that's going places, isn't it? But for that championship fight for Michael Gray, with a tough race for him, it's going to be interesting to see how he fights back from that against the likes of Gaylor and Hoyland, who in the end had just about enough to keep him behind at the end. But a lot of great stories, a lot of great racing, not least, of course, that side-by-side for multiple laps in succession between Moore and Poole. That's got to be one of the highlights of the day for certain, that first half of the race between the pair of them, where you couldn't really split them with a cigarette paper, could you? They were that close.
No, absolutely. Right, guys, that's going to wrap it up. Thank you so much. Here this evening, we have seen two different winners of these for the first time this season as well, with Harry Gaylor taking a win in the AMs and Shane Wells taking a win in the pros, taking it away from Michael Gray, taking it away from James Moore. Are they going to be able to build their streaks up once more coming into next week? Well, stay tuned. We're going to find out. There's plenty more action taking place at this moment in time. The SR8s are going on live at the moment, but there's a lot more action coming up. So don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on the bells. That would be absolutely amazing. I've been James Parfitt. I've been alongside Edward Hunter. And as always, guys, take care. Have a great week. And you never know, we might see you on the track sometime. Good night.